Malice, Let God Sort 'Em Out review by me, R. Allen. I am a Virginia native myself. I am from a city called Lynchburg, Virginia, although I was actually conceived in Virginia Beach, which is the general area in which Clipse members Pusha T and Malice, as well as Pharrell, are from. I've been super excited about this review. I am a big Clipse fan, an even bigger Pusha fan, truthfully. Just because I love what he did following his Clipse work, particularly Daytona. I love Daytona, and it's almost dry as super fire also. I do want to go back and listen to Malice's 2 solo projects. I've never done so, but this has inspired me to do that, and I will do that. So we get the opener, Birds Don't Cry, and it is an ode to the mother and father of Pusha T and Malice, respectively. It sets an emotional tone for the album that we really don't see from them, particularly Pusha T, but it's vulnerable, it's storytelling, and it's a great way to open the album. I think that it's a curious decision to put this as the first song. I know that it was discussed in at least one, if not more, of the interviews that have, been making rounds during their press run. But I do question this decision on my end a little bit, and I'll explain why later. But I think it's a great song, and it is a beautiful way to start an album. Chains and Whips, this is classic luxury, braggadocious spitting. The problem with this is because of the chaos and controversy surrounding the Kendrick verse and the Def Jam drop and all of that going on, I do think that it took some of the steam out of the song itself, because we heard it early, and then we were super hyper, it's like we were hyper focused too on what Kendrick's verse was going to be. So not only we hear it early, but we analyze it very early also. But I do think Kendrick sort of steals the show here. The Gen scheme has been, spoken on already. I think it is a remarkable scheme for a mainstream and conscious rapper. However, I will say this, for those saying like this is like the best wordplay they've ever heard, I mean, it's great, yes, but this is the kind of stuff that battle rappers do all the time. But it is fire. And this is a mainstream commercial sound. So the fact that he was able to do that, although the speed at which he raps picks up when this happens, and the drums are removed, so it puts a lot of focus on that anyway. Next up, we have POV with Tyler. It's another typical Clipse and Pusha braggadocious sort of situation. It's basically coke rap meets rap commentary from Pusha T. The standout for me is Tyler, who is an incredible feature on this, and a longtime Pusha T, Malice, Clipse, Neptune's fan. He says nah 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 in a very facetious sort of sounding way, and I do wonder if that's a callback to Drake saying that to Kendrick when he was antagonizing Kendrick even for not dropping soon enough, until of course he dropped. I really like that Tyler has a cool bar. He says, "I need God to play me in a biopic." That's a dope bar. Malice provides classic duality, devil versus angel, money versus morality sort of stuff. which is, I think, a great angle for Malice, because he's been that before, but now I think because he's returning as Malice, the rapper, um, with his Christian and spiritual background, and then with his past as a drug dealer, we know that this dual nature exists within Malice and has. So I think it's really cool that he's sort of doubled down on that opposing personalities as his artistic identity. So be it. I think that enough's been said about So Be It already. We love it. I don't really like it being here though. I'm gonna be honest. It's you get to 5 songs on this album, and 3 out of 5 we've already heard. And I know that it's normal to have, 2, 3, 4 singles for an album, but we don't always get them before the album. And also, just for me, it's that they are so close together on that album. I wonder if it's like that they put them that way just to get them out of the way, and then the rest of the album is fresh. I don't really understand the sequencing on this album, period. Not saying it's terrible, I just don't understand it. But that's that. I'm I would love to know the logic behind this. If anyone has any idea of why they think that it was sequenced the way it is, for any reason, let me know in the comments, and I will gladly correspond. The production thus far has been, I don't think anything has stood out, but nothing has been flat. Um, Everything sounds good. It sounds like Pharrell in 2025 making a Clipse album. That's what it sounds like, as it should. So, number 6, All Things Considered. I don't really care for the song. Pusha doesn't feel as inspired. The bars are not as punchy here to me. Uh, I think Malice redeems it with a very strong verse about sharing wealth and being good and giving back, which I think is super important, obviously. So I like Malice's verse. I don't think it's a terrible song, but I think in comparison to the rest of the album, I don't know that it's especially strong. The next song, MTBTTF, right? It starts off typical Pusha, which we get a lot of. And I've noticed this on this album. Like, the album started off with a very emotional song. And then, like, it's been mostly just standard Clipse stuff since. Good, but standard. I do think that the production on this one stands out. I think this is one of the best beats on the album. I think they know it. That's why they dropped it the way they did. Pusha and Malice's verses both start off as a cappella, and then the beat drops into these gorgeous, rich piano chords. Pharrell really outdid himself with this one. This is fire. I'd like to do something on this beat myself. This is a fire instrumental. Bars like "She Want Mike Tyson blow the face." I'm the Bezos of these Nazos. Just coke bars. Nothing groundbreaking, but just fire here. It is a standout track to me. It's a production highlight. It might be my favorite song on the album outside of maybe So Be It or Chains and Whips. And Birds Don't Sing, which is a different type of song altogether. BITDA, I think it is. I don't like this as much. I don't like the sample here. I think the drums are cool. I really like the drum pattern and the way that the drums sound, but I don't like the sample. It's probably multiple samples. I just don't like the instrumental itself. It's just not my favorite. I think that this song does serve well in setting up the next song, which is another one of my favorites on the album, and that is FICO, number 9. I feel like Sove God's hook is a standout here. He brings a certain energy to every single thing that he touches. And I want to make that very clear. If you guys have never listened to Sove God, go hear him on the Griselda records. Go listen to him on West Side's Pray for Paris. He's on there. He's on, I mean, he's basically on every major Griselda project somewhere. So just go look for Sove God Cooks features. Also look for 38 Special features, who I was hoping to get a feature from on this album, but we did not. I do think that a 38 Special and Clipse and or Pusha T track would be insane. Malice has another strong verse about his drug dealing past here. I do think that your credit's got to be FICO. I think that this seems to not just be about literal credit, but maybe about rapping and about like, you can't work with us unless you're top tier. You have some sort of credibility about you. So I could be reaching there, but that's just what my brain said like as soon as I heard it. Number 10 is Inglorious Bastards. Different type of instrumental here. Pusha, clever wordplay as usual. Malice dropped some chemistry bars. I thought that was pretty cool. There's Ab Lava from Philly on here. He delivers an excellent verse. To me, he reminds me of Davey East. He has worked with Clipse before, back during their original run. So it was cool to see him here. So far, the first 5 songs were sort of top heavy, and the middle feels a little bit soft comparatively. So far, it's a very, very good album. I don't know that I would call it a classic, but it is very good. So far ahead, gospel choir, some dark synths, pretty interesting contrast, very layered vibe here. The hook by Pharrell is about being left behind. I like this hook. I don't love Pharrell singing necessarily, but I like the hook quite a bit here. I think it fits. Pusha T, typical verse thematically. However, I will say that he incorporates a very steady rhyme scheme throughout his entire verse, which was pretty impressive actually. Malice's verse is loaded with church references. He ends this verse with God take the wheel like a Tesla. Now, you know, there are Teslas who are self-driving cars, so it seems to be that. However, I don't know, because also Elon owns Tesla, and you could argue that Elon is depicted as this godlike figure in common culture in our modern society. His recent political involvement has created a great deal of polarity, and I wonder if this is a shot to Elon. I don't know. This album was recorded before he was with Trump. However, he was still quite a bit in the spotlight and receiving some backlash then, even Cybertruck stuff, amongst other things. Chandelier sounds sinister. This is the one that has the Nas feature everyone wanted to hear. Pusha and Malice go back and forth with lines like coke spots all over like leprosy, soul leave your body like a fentanyl rush. This is pretty fucking fire. The back and forth is it's hard to beat, especially because, you know, their voices are similar, but you can't tell them apart. But because they're so similar, there's a vibe when they go back and forth too. It's almost like harmony. Instead of two things existing at once, they're existing in subsequent order. However, it feels harmonious in that they play off of one another so well stylistically, combined with how they sound sonically. It's just that harmony is like simultaneous, whereas this is like linear layering. Nas, of course, has a fire verse. He's Nas. He does the King's Disease flow here. He talks about re-inspiring a whole generation of MCs. And honestly, only Nas can do shit like that. So shout out to Nas. He's the GOAT. But this is a fire song, actually. And I like that the album has picked up by this point. I did think that it lagged a little bit in the middle. Just not quite as dynamic as it started, but I like the gospel sort of feel in the air. But it's coupled with this dark and sinister tone, which is very much Malice specifically, but I guess the Clipse in general, even down to Pharrell. Like Pharrell's like the nerd, and he's all these things, but he hangs out with these guys who have this dark past and did even years ago. It makes them these crazy beats that they can rap over. It's just nuts. What a great artistic combination of talent. The Clipse and Pharrell, the Neptunes formerly, and now with Nas on this song. Any other features, just truly artists. Don't know that I love Nas on these types of beats. We've heard we've heard Nas on this type of stuff before. This is not bad at all. It's a dope Nas verse. I think that he has to slow his flow down just a little bit. A few BPMs up, like, I don't know, like I'm just weird in that way, but that's just me. But I'm also used to old Nas, like Illmatic Nas, even It Was Written Nas, all the way up through Really Life Is Good. But anyway, I'm a Nas fan. So we get to the By the Grace of God, which is the closer on this album. It opens with Malice instead of Pusha this time, with a very raw reflection of his past. Pusha delivers a very strong bridge. Pharrell has a chorus here. I believe the best on the album, the best singing, and the best hook, period. Except for, well, unless you count John Legend on Birds Don't Sing, but as far as Pharrell goes, there's another choir sample on here. There's more subdued drums. Pusha has some really good lines about bad luck here. Also, just this theme tying into the theme of overcoming adversity and beating odds. Really like that. From mason jars to crepe tatas. Great line. Truly feels like a victory lap, this last song. I think it is a great closer to the album. I think these last few songs on the album have really solidified this as a great album. Top tier stuff. It really brings a full arc to the trap to transcendence narrative that Clipse has built. Overall, with that being said, it's time to rate this album. But I think that overall, I do find that the sequencing on this album is a little off to me. I would have put Birds Don't Sing in the middle. And I may have even taken MDP, TTF off, maybe. And maybe one other one. I may have moved a couple other songs around. I don't love the sequencing. The middle, I do feel, is a little weak compared to the beginning and the end. But that's super important to start and finish it off well. And that was certainly accomplished here. I think that Pusha sounds good. He seems to be refreshed. Pusha's got bars, we know this, but I do notice some difference in tone here. There's some pitch adjustment in his voice in this album. There's some inflection going on that's not normally here. And I like that he branched out a little bit sonically. Thematically, not so much, except for Birds Don't Sing, but he came and delivered. Pharrell certainly delivered production-wise. I don't love all the beats, but I think they're great. And they certainly fit the project pretty well, right? And then Malice, I have to say, Malice really is the star of this album. People are gonna. I'm sure I'm not the only one that said this. I don't know, maybe I am, but Malice is the star of this album, and it's not a slight to Pusha or Pharrell. Pharrell can make a dope album without the Clipse. Pusha has proven he can make a dope album without Pharrell or Malice. Malice's situation is different. He's just been gone and been out of the picture for so long. But for him to return to form like this on this album, he gives this album a level of depth that I think it actually needed. I think Birds Don't Sing is the strongest song on this entire album. I just saw that it was performed. I think it was Jimmy Fallon or one of the late night shows. That's a beautiful, beautiful song. I'm a little disappointed that they weren't able to reciprocate, or they weren't able to duplicate that type of emotion again in the album. But maybe we'll get some of that in the future. But overall, this was a great project, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think that it is not quite a perfect album. I think it's potentially classic material. I wouldn't call it a classic, at least not yet. I also think that classics are marked by their longevity and their timelessness. So when you call something a classic instantly, it's sort of oxymoronic to me, because in order for you to tell if it's a classic, you would have to see if it stands the test of time. So I don't know. I know some albums feel like classics, but then later on they don't feel so much because they're not timeless. So we'll see. But this is a great album, dope album. Return to form, Malice, Clipse, Pusha himself. I really like the features on here. Kendrick killed his verse. It may be Kendrick's verse might be the best verse on the album, maybe. But there's a couple Malice verses that I would put right there with it. And Nas also had a great verse as well. Sove God really cooked on his feature on the hook. I think this was just by and large a great, great album. And I'm looking forward to potential future Clipse projects. I hope you guys like this review. I hope you like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to my channel. I am building something here. This is no fake shit allowed here. I've already made a stand video about, y'all gotta go. Like, if you're weird, you gotta go. And if you're a non-hip-hop fan, you can watch my channel, but I'm not dealing with the toxicity. This is about hip-hop and the love of hip-hop, and I'm from Virginia, and I had to cover this. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching sincerely. Thank you for all my subscribers, the newer ones, the ones that have been here. Please know there is music coming. I know I'm not putting out demos and snippets the way I was, but that's because I'm focused on building my channel while I'm creating a couple projects. So you will get music by the end of the year. And there's going to be a whole lot more music next year. But I also like to analyze music and understand what I'm listening to and help others understand what they may be listening to as well. So with that being said, on this nice and warm July Wednesday morning, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I hope you guys have a nice day and or night. And I hope to see you again soon.